Hi. I thought that maybe we'd read a book together. What do you think? What about Wangari's Trees of Peace by Jeanette Winter? I think this is a really fun book. It's a story, it's a true story from Africa. Let's read together. Okay, Wangari's Trees of Peace. The earth was naked. For me, the mission was to try to cover it with green. Wangari. Wangari lived under an umbrella of green trees in the shades of Mount Kenya in Africa. She watched the birds in the forest where she and her mother go to gather firewood for cooking. Look at that really big mountain. That's a lot of firewood. Ooh. And she helped harvest the sweet potatoes and the sugar cane and the maize from the rich soil. Wangari shines in school, and when she grows tall like the trees in the forest, she wins a scholarship to study in America. So she's coming from Africa, there's a giraffe, and she's coming to America, and I think that might be the Statue of Liberty. So this might be New York, so this might be New Jersey, right? Okay, let's see what happens next. 6 years later, she studied over. Her studies are over, and Wangari returns to Kenya, home, and sees a change. What has happened, she wonders. Where are all the trees? Wangari sees her women bent from hauling firewood miles and miles from home. She sees barren land where no crops can grow. And where are the birds, she asks. Wouldn't that be startling to go away for school and come back and have all of the trees gone? Thousands of trees have been cut down to make room for buildings, but no one planted new trees to take their place. Will all of Kenya become a desert, she wonders, as her tear falls? Wangari thinks about the barren land. I'm beginning to replace some of the lost trees here in my own backyard, one tree at a time. She starts by planting 9 seedlings. 9's not a very big number when it comes to trees, right? Watching the seedlings take root gives Wangari the idea to plant more, to start a farm of baby trees, a nursery in an open space. She plants row after row of the tiny trees. Next, Wangari convinces the village women that planting trees is a good thing. She gives each one a seedling. A seedling's another word for a baby tree. She gives them each a seedling. Our lives will be better when we have trees again. You'll see. We are planting the seeds of hope, she says. Planting seeds of hope. That's a nice sentence. It's a nice idea, right? The women spread out over their village, planting tiny trees in a row, like a green belt stretching over the land. Oh. So these are their houses, and then here they are spreading the trees out like a green belt stretching over the land. I almost missed a page. The government men laughed. Women can't do that, they say. It takes trained foresters to plant trees. The women ignored the laughing and kept on planting. Wangari pays them a small amount for each seedling still living after 3 months, their first earnings ever. Word traveled like wind rustling through the leaves about the green returning to Wangari's village. Soon, other women in other villages and towns and cities in Kenya are planting long rows of seedlings too. Look at all the women planting in all the different kinds of villages. That's awesome. But the cutting, they keep cutting them down. The cutting continues. Wangari stands tall as an oak tree to protect it. The old trees still remaining. We need a park more than we need an office tower. She's awfully brave, right? Standing up for the trees. The government men disagree. Wangari blocks their way, so they hit her with clubs. Oh my. They called her a troublemaker and they put her in jail. And still she stands tall. Right is right, even if you're alone, she says. But Wangari is not alone. Talk of the tree spreads all over Africa, like ripples in Lake Victoria. More women hear the talk and plant even more seedlings in larger and larger rows. The seedlings take root and grow tall until there are over 3 million trees. Wow! Where there were none. 30 million, where there were no trees at all. Look at all those trees. Those are all baby trees growing up. The umbrella of green in Kenya returned. Women walk tall, their backs straight, for now they can gather firewood closer to home. The land is no longer barren. Sweet potatoes and sugarcane and maize grow again in the rich red earth. The whole world hears of Wangari's trees and of her army of women who planted them. That's awesome. And if you were to climb to the very top of Mount Kenya, today you would see the millions of trees growing below you and the green Wangari brought back to Africa. And then there's some author notes. Wangari's Trees of Peace by Jeanette Winter. Isn't that a nice story? Isn't that great? What little things can we plant that bring hope and that bring care to our communities? I wonder what we can do. Jesus loves you, and so do I.